There are many different viewpoints on the place of homework in our educational system. I talked to a few people about their views.
Homework has been a topic of debate within the field of education for a long time. Okay, there's a lot of research that says that homework is associated with greater academic achievement outcomes. So students that are completing homework are practicing, they're mastering concepts that are learned in classes, and they're also developing skills such as time management, responsibility, memory, and thinking skills with homework. So homework is a positive thing that leads to positive academic outcomes. However, kind of like everything else, too much of something can have a negative effect, right? So too much homework, or if a student is spending too much time on homework, it can lead to things like stress, and if not managed properly, stress can lead to more complicated issues.
Especially if you have like a job or something that takes up multiple hours of your day, it's hard to get a personal life and then also your daily needs in, such as sleep most importantly, but like eating and also getting a shower. There's definitely a very like immediate change in terms of like emotionally and just how your personal day goes. Because like when on days that I get very little sleep in comparison to days I get a lot of sleep, I feel like my academic self is the same on both, but I definitely am more irritable and I don't want to be talked to.
I remember what it was like for my stepdaughters to go to school all day and then come home and have a myriad of activities and be up until 3 o'clock in the morning trying to fit everything in. And I think that homework absolutely is important, but I do think sometimes we have to be mindful of how much people have. There's only so much that you can handle productively and still get up the next morning and smile and be a well-adjusted person and an awake person.
Despite homework's possible negative impacts, it still has positive effects.
I mean, yeah, we can get a lot of homework, but sometimes it can be really helpful, especially if you don't understand a concept in class, but then doing the homework helps you understand it. But I do think sometimes it can be excessive.
So there's no hard and fast rule. Through literature that I've read, a very general guideline has always been about 10 minutes per grade level. So if you think back in elementary school, like first grade would be 10 minutes a night generally, second grade would be 20 minutes a night, and so on and so forth. So when you fast forward up here into the secondary and high school level, you could really range anywhere between an hour, hour and a half to 2.5 hours.
Even with these guidelines, some students still have trouble getting their homework done.
I know it's like a necessity to like learn and like process the information that you're given. However, it is extremely overwhelming and it's a lot to deal with, especially when you're like busy. Like I do with marching band a lot, so I don't have much time to do it.
And especially on like, people that have after school activities, they're getting home 7, 8, 9, doing their homework at that point, maybe even later. And it is unreasonable to ask a teacher for help at 7, 8, 9, maybe later.
There's a fine line where homework is taken away from our well-being outside of school. I don't think students should be up till like midnight doing homework. So I think there's a fine line. I think there needs to be a balance that we need to find.
If students are having trouble finding that balance, Mr. Kirchner recommends reaching out to teachers.
And if a student is really spending hours on end every single night on homework, okay, that may be a good time to connect with the teacher and to discuss kind of what's going on, why is it taking so long, are there areas that you're not understanding or other areas that you can kind of pull back on? Because most of the teachers, if not all of teachers, acknowledge that there's other things that outside of school that are healthy in a student's life, such as extracurricular activities, sports, music, arts, those types of things.
Homework probably isn't going away anytime soon, but schools are trying their best to diminish the negative impacts on their students. For Hempfield Happenings, I'm Davey Striggle.